I'm about to go undercover, not really undercover, but I'm about to hop on Reddit just to see what people are talking about when it comes to social media and real estate, mixing the two together. I'm just going to stalk a little bit, see what other real estate agents are posting on these threads and seeing what type of advice they're giving, determining whether or not it's good advice, bad advice, valid or not, and just giving y'all some insight from the point of view of someone who has gotten over 120 million views and has been at this for several years. So let's just get straight into it. Our luxury presence _ Aaron says, what's working for you right now on social media for real estate agent? I see a lot of agents posting consistently on Instagram and TikTok. Cool. And still saying it's not turning into business. Not so cool. Others post way less and somehow stay booked. Well, what's actually working for you right now? Are you getting real leads? Okay, that's interesting. Good questions, by the way. So yeah, there definitely are a lot of agents posting consistently on Instagram and TikTok that just aren't getting business from it. That is a skill issue, but the good news is it's a skill issue that can be fixed, right? So let's see what they have to say about this. Aromatic Musician 93 says, from what I've seen, it's not about posting more, it's about posting the right content. I agree, sort of. You want to post more at volume just because competition is so heavy. It is so thick. Everybody is posting online. And so the more, the better. Volume negates luck. But I definitely do agree with that second part of the sentence that it's about posting the right content. Now, if you can find a way to post the right content at a good volume, then you are off to the races at that point. So he says property listings alone don't convert much. What's working is local, trust building content like market insights, real client stories, walkthroughs with honest commentary, and simple educational videos. Let's just break that down for a second. So property listings alone don't convert much. Well, it just depends what type of property listings you are posting. Now, if you're taking the actual listing photos from, let's say, Zillow or Realtor.com, whatever the case may be, and then trying to, convert that over to social media in hopes to get the same amount of views and the same conversions, it's just not going to happen because social media is different. The audience is different. What people like to see is different. The value is different. So I would say it definitely depends on the format at that point. What type of format are you posting these property listings in? If you are just doing the photo method where you're trying to take the photos from the actual listing, post it on social media, you might not see much luck with that. But I would say if you do want to, rely on photos, take your own photos, with your iPhone. I believe that's much more familiar ground when it comes to social media and actually getting your audience to kind of stop the scroll and look at what you got to offer just because it's familiar to the eye. Natural photos when it comes to these houses and the properties, they definitely are popular. But again, I'm a video guy. I believe video works extremely well. I would say just go record the property listing. There's different ways to record it. I would say record it each and every single way. See what works for you. See what works for your audience. I'm a big fan of the walkthrough tours with the voiceover. I believe they're simple. They're easy to do. And most importantly, they just work. And if you don't believe me, go on your TikTok right now and search up any city followed by home tour. Atlanta home tour, Dallas home tour. Any city followed by home tour, it will guaranteed be in the first 3 videos that pop up a regular walkthrough tour with a voiceover. If it's not a voiceover, it's somebody talking. The point is the walkthrough tours, they work extremely well. They're very simple, no editing required. That's just what I'm a fan of. All right. They also say what's working is local, trust building content like market insights. Market insights are good. It definitely hits a certain type of audience. Now, I believe if you're not actively looking for that type of content, it won't necessarily reach the most amount of people. But again, most amount of people doesn't really matter nowadays. I just think this is definitely more niche for a certain audience that is into those insights. And again, it just depends how you give that information out. The format is very important in these situations when the actual, ideation of the video, the idea of the video isn't so sexy and instead is rather boring or, drawn out, then it may not work in some cases. But if you frame the video right and give that information to people in the right format, then it could work for you. Okay, real client stories, walkthroughs with honest commentary. Now, the client stories, I believe those can be good for converting. Again, I go back to the format. What format are you doing these videos in? You have to find the best way to connect with your audience when it comes to those types of videos, especially when it comes to video testimonials. Usually it's more just like a highlight piece for people who are, looking at your page, seeing if they see themselves working with you. So it's not necessarily to get more clients. It's more of a trust building tactic. I will say stuff like that works much better on like Instagram stories or TikTok stories than it would with a reel or a video. But again, just depends on the format in that case. Walkthroughs with honest commentary. Again, big fan of that. Just explaining why. And they go on to say simple educational videos. Again, just depends on what type of educational videos you're talking about. Idea is usually king when it comes to these. And if your idea of the video isn't so good, then it just won't connect. It just won't hit right with people's attention spans. They will literally scroll faster than you can spit out your first word in some cases. So you just got to be strategic with your educational videos and hook them in and actually give them value for them to actually work, especially in terms of getting something from it. Also, quick replies to DMs and consistent follow-ups matter a lot. I agree. And the agents getting leads are the ones building trust, not just posting. I definitely agree with that too. You have to both build trust and post, not do both separately. Kind of goes hand in hand once you crack the code of connecting with your audience in the best way possible, speaking their language, giving them what they want to see, and also what you want to show them. You're going to for sure build some trust when posting like that. Now, this next reply, I find it kind of funny. You know, it's humorous. I get it. Ant Firm 4593 says, "Be hot. That's about it. LOL. Engagement for days, but probably low sales. All the agents I see on a normal basis aren't posting about the homes they're selling, just the clients they're trying to get." Now, I'm not going to sit up here and lie to you and say being hot can't be played to your advantage. If you are somebody who is self-proclaimed hot, then sure, use it to your advantage. Do whatever you want. But again, I agree with, to a certain extent, his statement when it says engagement is probably high, but you probably have low sales or low conversion rates. So is it the best thing to lead with? I mean, I don't know, probably not if you're not good with the follow-up after that. Once they reach out to you, and again, they may have different intentions. You may get a lot of colder leads, but being aesthetically pleasing to the eye, whether you like it or not, is definitely something that can be played to one's advantage to at least get the lead in the door. But it's not the end all be all. Matter of fact, this metric of winning or getting leads or getting clients is not determined based on how hot you are or not. I know a lot of people who don't even show their face that gets a lot of leads. So it doesn't matter how you look. I'm just saying, if you do want to go that route, then you absolutely can. You just got to be good at what you do after they reach out. Now, that's just the cold hard truth. It's not my favorite, but don't shoot the messenger here. All right. Slain Shadow says, post a lot, but also post the right content. Yep. Easier said than done. Here are some ideas. So I will say it's definitely easier said than done, but it does not have to be that way always, especially if you put in the effort to try to figure this out. Once you actually put in the effort to try to figure out what's the right type of content and how do I post a lot, putting those two things together, then it comes like clockwork in my opinion, because at that point, it's just a repeatable system that you're doing over and over and over again. Unless you try to change up here and there, then that's when it gets a little bit hard. Now, this person lists some ideas: new listing videos, coming soon videos, just listed, just sold videos, and localized neighborhood highlights. Let's break that down. All right, new listing videos, those are definitely good in terms of if you do it as a tour. Again, people just love tours. That's what your audience likes to see. They like to see tours. So I would say if you can just shove it down their throat as much as possible, home tour, home tour, home tour, in different formats, even if you want to, then I believe that's a good way to go about this. Not going to lie, but that's very, specific to the format. Coming soon videos, I don't think this is the best idea, only because your audience doesn't gravitate the most to what they don't have right now, right in front of them. Like, they're very selfish. Like, if you're scrolling through your feed, you don't want to know what's coming soon. You want to know what you can get right now. You want to see it right now. And so unless, you're getting a lot of saves on that type of post, then I don't think it's the best for converting. They don't really care about what's coming soon. Now, I'm not saying whether or not I like that type of thinking. I'm just saying that's how it is usually. So I would just hold off on that. But if you do want to go that route, then I'd say post it on your story instead. Maybe a post would work, but again, never know till you try. Just listed, just sold videos. Again, this just goes back to the type of format. Now, I will say just sold, that doesn't really move the needle, obviously, because it was just sold and your audience isn't looking for what's just sold. This is more of those type of posts that kind of like is meant to say, here's what I did, look at me, which is cool and all. But in terms of lead generation, I don't think, well, I know that's not the best post at all. It's not even top 10 in my opinion. Just listed. Again, just depends on the format. I would actually loop that in with the first one that he said, the new listing videos. Same thing. Just depends on the format. I'll emphasize again, I'm a big fan of the walkthrough tours. I believe they work extremely well. But yeah, just listed videos, those are cool. Photos, graphics, I would say those are less cool. If you're just posting graphics of your just listed, then you're not going to get as much traction as you maybe are hoping to get. I would say at that point, you're just using your social media page as a brochure, as a, putting myself out there type thing, rather than a very intentional lead generation source. And if you are posting those just listed or just sold graphics, and hoping to, get some lead generation from that, I would say just switch it up a bit just because it's kind of outdated at this point. And if I'm being real, they just suck. All right. So localized neighborhood highlights, I think those are also good as well. You're attracting the right type of audience, the right people in the area that you're in. If you have a good balance of that, as well as your stuff that will move the needle in terms of actual real estate, then I believe that could work well. But it's at the point when you start to overdo it, when you post a lot of local stuff and local news and highlights of some sort, that's when conversions may start to die down, just because you're not at that point strictly targeting those who are actually looking to move, and rather just those who are in that area. So if you just have a good balance of those two, then I think it will work well. But if not, then you may just be cooked. It also says you can easily make a video walkthrough for social media by using an image to video tool. Not a big fan of that. Not a big fan. All right. I personally recommend Tour Estate AI. Again, not a big fan. Actually, not a fan at all. Especially when it comes to getting something from it. And that's something. When I say something, I mean actual closed deals and new leads. That's what you actually want. I would say this doesn't work as well as you may think. You can produce a video within 5 minutes by just uploading your photos, no filming, and no having to schedule a videographer for some days and rely on an editor. Now, that's the thing about it. You don't need a videographer. You don't need an editor. Nobody ever said you needed those things. I believe that's just what people started assuming that you need, just because they saw the select few doing it and actually getting all these views and likes and stuff from it. When in reality, that's not what we're actually aiming for, right? The views and the likes. We're actually aiming for the right people, the right audience to come and like our content enough to reach out to us eventually. That should be the main goal in mind, Videographers and the editors, those are for who? The fancy people. And if you want to be fancy, go ahead. I have no hate towards you, but I will say there's a better way to go about it. There's an easier way to go about it in terms of productivity, and making content can be free as long as you allow it to be free. You don't need all the extra, hoo-has and hoorahs. Once you learn the art of filming and editing, which by the way, you don't need to edit much at all once you follow a specific, frame of formats. If you actually start to rely on the simplicity of your posting and actually getting leads from it and not the production value, then you'll actually start to see those results that you're looking for. Because the production value just doesn't mean anything in this case, not as much as you may think at least. So yeah, no, I would say no to the AI stuff, to turning the image into video tools. If you do find that that's easier than filming, then go for it. But if you want to take that route, just know what you're getting yourself into. And again, in my humble opinion, I think it's even much easier to just go film the house or the property rather than to just upload images to turn them into a video using this tool that people speak of. So that's a no for me, dog. That concludes this Reddit post and these replies. As always, if you do want to work with me and join the community, I will leave the link down below in the description. There's so much stuff that goes into this. And I believe this is by the way, this is a good post. This is a good post with some all right replies. I will say, if you were to read this post and try to apply it, actually go take action and apply the stuff that was said in this post, you could have some success, but there will be some missing pieces. I believe for a general post and generally speaking, without going into the details and, connecting all the dots here, this post was actually kind of solid. But again, as a standalone, you won't learn too much from it in terms of actually growing your social media pages the right way. Hope y'all enjoy it. Let me know if you want to see more of these, by the way. I kind of like this style of video, stalking people's Reddit posts and just replying to it on video. I probably won't ever reply to these in an actual, format feed, or maybe I will. I'm not sure yet, but just let me know what you think. And yeah, I'll see y'all soon.